Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I remembered the sound of the chair scraping across the floor before she even spoke. Brianna sat down across from me at the dining table, hands folded, shoulders straight, face calm in a strange, practiced way. "Nick," she said, steady and slow, "I'm getting married to someone else." For a moment, I waited for her to laugh. I looked at the doorway, half expecting a camera or a cruel joke to appear from the corner. Nothing moved. Her eyes stayed fixed on mine, not soft, not angry, just controlled. "To whom?" I asked. "Jeremiah Cole from my office," she replied. "We've been talking for months. He wants to make things official. He wants to do it the right way." We were still legally married. Her clothes were still in our closet. Her photos still hung on our wall. None of that seemed to matter to her now. I leaned back in my chair and studied her face. There were no tears, no shame, no real emotion, only expectation. "So what happens next?" I said. She hesitated, like she suddenly realized she had skipped a step. I I thought we would talk about it first. I thought you'd want answers." "I already have them," I replied after a short pause. "Great. Then you can move in with him." Her eyebrows pulled together. That wasn't part of the script she had written in her head. "You're not even going to ask me to stay?" she said quietly. "There's nothing to ask," I answered. "You made a decision. I'm respecting it." She looked away, then back again. "I didn't think it would go like this." "I'm sure you didn't," I said. Silence settled between us. It was heavy, but clear. I stood and pushed my chair in. "You can start packing tonight," I added. "We'll keep this simple. You have 1 week." Her voice lowered. "Nick, don't do this like that." "You already did it," I said, walking past her. "I'm just adjusting to your new plans." I went to the spare room and closed the door behind me. The house felt the same, but something important had already ended. She had tried to tear my world apart with one sentence. All she really did was tell me it was time to build a different one. I slept in the spare room that night. In the morning, I walked into the kitchen and saw Brianna standing by the sink, staring out the window. She didn't turn around when I entered. "I meant what I said," I told her. "You have 1 week." She nodded without facing me. "I heard you." On the counter, her phone buzzed once, then again. She didn't pick it up. I poured coffee and kept my eyes forward. The house was quiet, but the kind that feels forced, like both people are waiting for the other to break first. I had no intention of being that person. Over the next few days, she made a weak show of preparing. One box appeared in the living room, half filled with magazines and old paperwork. A second box followed, this one holding a few sweaters. Her closet stayed full. Her shoes remained lined up by the door. Every night she came home late, smelling faintly of cheap perfume and cold air, saying little. On the third evening, she finally spoke more than a few words. "Jeremiah is having some issues with his place," she said, leaning against the counter. "His roommate isn't moving out on time. Things are a bit messy right now." "That sounds like your problem, not mine," I replied. "It's not that simple. We're trying to sort it out." "You're the one who said you were getting married," I said. "People who plan weddings usually have a place to live." She didn't like that. I could see it in the way her jaw tightened. "Why are you turning cold all of a sudden?" she asked. "You don't care at all?" "I'm being clear," I said. "There's a difference." Each day that passed made her explanations thinner. The details of her new life shifted slightly every time she spoke about it. Sometimes Jeremiah was ready for her. Other times he needed space. Once, she said he was thinking of moving closer. The next time, he was suddenly unsure about his job. The story never settled. That was the first time I felt it. The doubt, sharp and precise. Something in her story didn't line up. Still, I didn't challenge her. I watched. I listened. I marked the days. 4 days left. The truth didn't reach me through Brianna. It came on a normal afternoon when I stepped out for a late lunch and ran into a mutual friend, Daisy Miller, near the corner cafe. She looked surprised, then smiled, giving me a quick hug before stepping back. "Didn't expect to see you here, Nick," she said. "Same to you," I replied. "How have you been?" We talked for a few minutes about small things. Work, traffic, the new place that had opened down the street. Then she mentioned a familiar name without meaning to change my life. "Funny thing," Daisy added. "Remember that Jeremiah from your wife's office you once mentioned? I saw him at the gym last week." I kept my voice steady. "Oh yeah?" "Yeah. He was packing his locker. Said he might be leaving town if this new position comes through. Sounded serious about it, too. That didn't match anything Brianna had said. I nodded, pretending it meant nothing. You two know each other well? Not really, Daisy replied. Same spin class sometimes. He's always joked that dating at work is a mess. Says he avoids it like a virus. I felt the puzzle pieces shift into place. If Jeremiah was planning to leave and swear off relationships with coworkers, then Brianna's story made no sense. No wedding, no big plan, no shared future waiting for her. Just a name she had borrowed to make her lie feel real. I finished lunch without mentioning Brianna at all. Daisy didn't push. She had no idea what she had just uncovered for me. When I returned home that evening, Brianna was sitting on the couch scrolling through her phone. No boxes had moved. No progress had been made. Did you pack anything today? I asked. I've been busy, she said without looking up. With what? Talking with Jeremiah. Planning things. I watched her face carefully. Not a flicker of honesty. Only performance. Good, I said calmly. You won't need much time then. She glanced up, confused by my tone, then went back to her screen. She had no idea that, in one short conversation with Daisy, her entire story had already unraveled. And I let her believe it was still intact. I didn't argue with her anymore. Words had lost their value in that house. Action felt cleaner. That evening, while she stayed glued to the couch, I walked into the bedroom and pulled an empty suitcase from the closet. I laid it open on the bed and began placing her things inside, one by one. Shirts, dresses, belts, books from the nightstand. No rush, no anger, just movement. When she noticed, she rushed in. What are you doing? She asked, voice sharp. Helping you get ready, I said without pausing. You don't get to decide how this goes, she snapped. You already did, I replied. I'm just organizing the result. She tried to grab a shirt from the pile. I stepped aside and kept going. The silence between us grew heavy. After a moment, she spoke in a softer tone. You're moving on way too fast. I'm moving on exactly on time, I answered. Later that night, after she locked herself in the bathroom, I sat at my laptop in the spare room and emailed a lawyer. I kept the message short. I asked for guidance. Within the hour, I had a reply offering a meeting the next day. I accepted without hesitation. The following morning, I met the lawyer in an office that smelled like old books. We spoke plainly. No drama, no blame. She walked me through the process. Separation first, then paperwork, the final signatures, property division, a clean legal end. When I returned home, more boxes sat in the living room. Not my doing this time. Brianna had finally started, but her movements were slow, almost theatrical. I watched for a moment, then said, It's unnecessary. I already started everything for you. Her hands froze on the edge of a box. Started what? The separation, I said. The paperwork. The next chapter. Her face drained of color. That calm confidence she wore when she shocked me at the table was gone. In its place sat uncertainty. You actually went that far? She whispered. You pushed us there, I said. I'm just walking the path. She looked around the room. For the first time, I saw a flicker of real fear in her eyes. And still, I kept packing. I asked one question as she taped another box. Does Jeremiah know you are leaving this marriage for him? Brianna froze. Her fingers rested on the tape, not moving. Of course he knows, she said, but her voice lacked weight. Then he'll have no trouble repeating it, I replied. I texted him earlier. He should be here soon. Her head snapped up. You did what? I invited him to clear the confusion, I said. A knock cut through the tension. 3 short taps. I opened the door. Jeremiah Cole stood there, hands in his pockets, eyes uncertain, shoulders tense. Nick? He asked. You said this was important. It is, I answered, stepping aside to let him in. Brianna has some future to discuss with you. His attention shifted to her. What are you talking about? She swallowed. Nick is misunderstanding things. No, I'm listening, he said. You told me we were just talking, that we were getting to know each other. She stepped closer to him. I told him you were serious about me. Jeremiah shook his head firmly. I never said that. I never talked about marriage. I never planned a life with you. I'm interviewing out of state in a few weeks. The room went silent. Every word had landed exactly where it needed to. You told me you were getting married, I said calmly. Brianna's eyes darted between us. I assumed you invented it, Jeremiah said. Flirting isn't a proposal. She looked at me, panic growing. Nick, I didn't mean for it to blow up like this. Jeremiah stepped backward. I'm not part of this, he said. Whatever is happening here, leave me out of it. He turned to me. I'm sorry, man. I had no idea she was doing this. You're free to go, I told him. Thank you for being honest. He nodded once and walked out, closing the door behind him. Brianna stood in the middle of the living room, exposed. The story she had built collapsed without me touching it. You shouldn't have done that, she whispered. You shouldn't have lied, I replied. Her shoulders slumped. The power she thought she owned had vanished. The room felt different now, and the truth sat there with us, impossible to escape. Silence stretched across the living room after the door shut behind Jeremiah. Brianna stood still, eyes fixed on the spot where he had stood seconds earlier, as if replaying the moment in her mind and searching for a different ending. Her confidence had drained away. Only panic and regret remained. You didn't have to embarrass me like that, she said quietly. You embarrassed yourself, I replied. I just turned on the light. Her hands trembled. She lowered herself onto the edge of the couch, staring at the floor. I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted you to care again. I wanted to see if you would fight for me. I don't fight for lies, I said. I fight for facts, and the facts are clear now. She looked up. Does that mean we're really done? That part ended the moment you said you were marrying someone else, I answered. I've already spoken to a lawyer. Divorce papers will be filed this week. The word hung between us. Tears slid down her cheeks, but I didn't move. You're not even going to give us another chance? There is no us left to give anything to, I said evenly. You replaced it the moment you invented another future. Over the next few days, the process moved faster than she expected. I met the attorney. Forms were prepared. Bank accounts were separated cleanly. Every signature felt like another lock clicking into place. Brianna packed the rest of her belongings in silence. No speeches, no begging, no anger. Only the quiet realization that she had destroyed the stability she once depended on. On the day she left, she paused at the doorway. I don't have anywhere solid to go, she admitted. That's the risk you took, I replied. She nodded, ashamed, and walked out with her last bag. Later, I heard she had moved into a small, temporary rental across town. Jeremiah had cut all contact. Friends mentioned she seemed lost, drifting between regret and confusion. I didn't check on her. The chapter had closed. Months passed without noise. The divorce became official with a final stamp and a signature, nothing dramatic. I moved into a small apartment downtown, one bedroom, one window facing the street. I bought only what I needed, no extra space for ghosts. My morning started early. I ran before sunrise. I cooked my own meals, nothing fancy, no memories attached to the recipes, just fuel, just routine. Each day followed the same rhythm, and for the first time in years, the rhythm belonged to me. Daisy stopped by one weekend to help assemble a shelf. She placed the screws in a neat line before starting. You look different, she said. Lighter, I replied. She nodded. You did the right thing, Nick. Not many people have the control to walk away that calmly. I didn't walk away calmly, I said. I walked away correctly. She gave a small smile and didn't argue. Weeks later, my phone buzzed late one night. An unfamiliar number glowed on the screen. I'm sorry. There was a second message right after. Jeremiah left the city. I'm alone. I never meant to lose you like this. I read both messages once. I didn't rush to reply. I didn't ask questions. I didn't feel anger. I felt the same calm I felt on my morning runs and in my quiet kitchen. I locked the phone and placed it face down on the counter. Outside my window, traffic passed in steady waves. Life continued, unaware, uninvolved. For the first time in a long time, I knew something with absolute certainty. I had already moved on. It started at a table and it ended at one. Not the same one. Not the same house. This time, I sat alone in my small kitchen downtown. No extra setting across from mine. No second chair angled slightly away. Just clean space. I picked up my cup and let the warmth settle in my hands. That night came back to me, clear as if it had just happened. Brianna sitting across from me, voice smooth, eyes steady, saying she was getting married to someone else. The confidence in her posture, the expectation of chaos. She had believed one sentence could shatter me. Instead, it rewrote me. She had never really planned a new life. She had been testing her power, checking if she could still control the direction of my world. When I didn't beg, when I didn't panic, when I simply gave her what she claimed she wanted, the illusion broke. She didn't lose a marriage that night. She lost leverage. I, on the other hand, lost nothing that truly belonged to me. The past didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like a closed file, stored away and never needing to be opened again. I didn't hate her. I didn't miss her. She had turned herself into a lesson, and I had learned it completely. My phone sat on the counter, silent. No new messages, no unanswered calls, no reason to pick it up. I finished my coffee and stood. Same routine I followed every morning now. Peace wasn't something I had stumbled into. It was something I had chosen. And the man who once heard, "I'm getting married to someone else," was the same man who now knew. He had never been replaced. He had simply been released. That was the truth she never expected. And the quiet life I built afterward was the only reply she ever deserved. Thank you for watching.